Hey everyone, and welcome to a new Let's Play. Today we're checking out Cities Skylines After Dark, the first expansion to the wonderful city building sim. So what I thought we'd do today is, rather than me rabbiting on for a while, we'll just jump basically straight into a new game. I'll show you what mods I've got set up at the moment. So we have the Traffic Manager and Improved AI mod, and the Tree Brush. So the Tree Brush is basically just to make it easier to put down large amounts of trees. And the Traffic Manager just makes it easier to customize traffic, and so you can change lane directions and the way traffic lights work and things like that. Do have some color correction mods in, so these just basically take off a lot of the filters and things that are present in the initial game or the default build of the game. Apart from that, there's nothing else. So we're going to jump straight into a new game. We're actually going to play on Shady Strands. So it's a map that I haven't really played on before. I had a look a little bit earlier just so it would make it easier to and quicker to sort of get stuck into building our city. But it does look quite interesting, so it should be fun. I'm going to name our city name Helios, just because we can. And we're going to use left-hand traffic. And we're going to do that because I am Australian and we drive on the right side of the road, which is the left. So, we're going to jump straight in here. And what I'm going to mention first is my whole city building mantra is, like, I love beautiful cities in Cities Skyline. Like, don't really see the point in sort of building really large cities, so I'd rather have a city of 6,000 that I love and I think is beautiful, rather than a city of 50,000 that, you know, is just sort of full of square blocks and things like that. So that's what we're going to be going for today. Going to be aim to create the most beautiful city that we possibly can. So just checking out our start here. This is our starting tile or area. This is going to be, so over here, given that this is sort of where the road connections come in, I'm going to make this our initial residential and commercial area, so that'll be good. I'm going to set up some initial industrial infrastructure over here as well, so on the other side of the road. So I like to keep it away from residential and commercial. We are playing on with milestones on, so I know some people sort of prefer to have everything unlocked, but I think it's sort of a nice progression to the game, and it really doesn't take all that long to get up to the having everything unlocked anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to transfer or transition into agriculture and forestry later on, but for the moment we're just going to chuck some heavy industrial down here, and then we can get rid of that later. So what we're going to do, jump straight in, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to use a roundabout here. So I know roundabouts are not often the most effective way of managing traffic. I'm just going to bump down the sound a little bit, guys. So I think we're going to go interface and also drop down the effects a little bit as well. So that should be fine. So the roundabouts are often not the most effective of managing way of managing traffic, and this one actually is only 2 lanes as well, so it will sort of be a problem later on, but we can sort of overcome that and have sort of different ways into the city and stuff like that. So I do like the way they look though, so that's what we're going to go with. So I don't really ever like straight roads, and so what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to actually sort of bring a road down along the water. And that's going to be like our initial housing build. So we're going to start here, follow the water along as closely as we can. And it looks like there's a little gully or something up here. So what we're actually going to do is sort of come up and around that. So like there. So we put our initial residential over here somewhere. We're also going to bring a road down from here. So down here. And also follow the water along like this. I think we're going to end it there, so we don't want to create a junction with the highway, so it's just going to slow down traffic. So what I'm actually thinking we're going to do is sort of have all this through residential all through here, and actually put a road in, maybe like coming around here to sort of hug the highway, and put our commercial sort of right on the highway and right at our entry roads in here. So it'll sort of just be like a little bit of a barrier between the commercial and the residential. Even though commercial does sort of produce its own noise pollution, but I think that's sort of a good way that we can go. So what we're going to do is chuck down some initial residential, so we'll sort of start here and put down a bunch of residential, and that should probably be enough to keep us going. So I'm just going to take off a bit there. Cool, so that's got that set up there. So next thing we're going to do is put down some power. So yeah, so this is the best place we can put it. So I like using wind turbines, so I know you can use like the coal power plant and get a lot more fuel, but might as well use something environmentally friendly while we can. You put down our water pump here, so the river flows down this way, so it's a perfect spot to have our water pump there. We're actually going to put our sewerage probably over here for the moment, just so there's not too much distance to run our connections, but later on we're actually going to move it as far downriver as we possibly can, so we don't really want it right across from our beautiful residential areas over here. So we're going to run a pipe from there straight up and connect to there, and then we're going to run a line over here and then just follow the road all the way down. So there we go, that's our initial water stuff set up. Then we're going to run some power, so run some power from here along to our sewage to there, and then next we're going to run a line over, I think it was about here that we had our residential set up, so we'll check it there, and yep, that should be perfect, so it's good. So we're actually going to get the game running. I'm going to put it up to probably about 3 speed at the moment, so this initial like bedding in period can be a little bit slow, so we'll get the game running and slow it down a bit later. So I know some people don't like a little chirpy up here, but I don't mind him actually, and you know, you don't really have to read them or anything like that, so it's not too bad. So we've got our initial residential stuff built up. We're actually going to sort of expand some more over here. I'm actually going to leave this area, so I'm actually going to stop the residential on this side just here. So I'm actually going to leave this area free for services. So you can put down some, I think probably like some medical centre and education and police station and stuff right in here, because that's going to give us a good coverage. You'll probably end up covering like most of, or covering most of this area. So that'll be good. So I think that's what we're going to do there. We'll put down a little bit more residential like there. Just keep that going. Now that we have our so commercial and industrial demand coming up, I think what we're going to do is set our commercial up first. So I think we're going to run a road around here, like I mentioned before. So it's going to run this out from here and like there, and then have it basically as close to the highway as we possibly can. So like that, and then come down and down there, and it should link it up there. So that'd be good. So we're going to put our initial commercial along here, and then we can also fill up all the way around here as well if we need. So that it will be quite good. So we'll set up this. Start with, that should be enough. Going to have to run some power lines over here, but that's okay. We can get rid of those later. Just there, and I think it was there. Was that it? Yeah. So hopefully that should pick up the commercial buildings there. And for our starting industrial, like I mentioned, we're actually going to start over here. So I'm going to break my one rule, and we're going to have a super duper boring little square block of industrial. So that'll do. So we're going to have that here, and like I mentioned, we'll get rid of this later, so it doesn't really matter too much. It's sort of just the initial sort of start. So put some demand there, or some industrial zoning there, and then fill up this inside block. So we're going to run, I think we'll run it here, and then can we run it over? Yep, perfect. So I can run that there and there. So that should have power to our initial industrial. Also, you're going to run pipe. So we need some water. So we're going to run our pipe up here and there, connect up there. And then we're going to just run a little pipe in here to have this area all covered up. So what I'm thinking we're going to do is, like we said, have our commercial around here, and then we can fill up this area in the middle with like some funky designs and some different shapes and stuff, and just make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more pretty and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to do there. We'll run a water pipe over here, or some water and sewage pipes, so that should cover everything there, which would be good. So that's all set up. So initial commercial and industrial starting to develop, which is nice. Crank up the speed a little bit. Don't really need any more residential, but we've got some more set up, so that's pretty good. What we're actually going to do, I should have done this a little bit earlier, going to drop down our water and actually leave our power for the moment, but we'll drop our water budget right down. The reason we're going to do that is because we basically have huge excess demand. So we're only using up nearly 4,000 cubic meters, but we actually have 30,000 cubic meter capacity, and that's at running 50% of our budget. So we have huge excess demand there. Power will get used up quite a bit more quickly, so we should probably just leave that at maximum for the moment. We've got all these sewage signs popping up at the moment, but don't worry, that actually only just happens because we changed our budget. So it sort of seems to reset the services, and then it sort of re-kicks them in, or restarts them, and it takes a little while for it all to re-kick in. So don't worry too much about that if you do that in your game. Everything's going quite well. Doing some more residential, some commercial. Got some sort of excess space for all our needs, so that's pretty good. And we're coming into our first night in this Let's Play. So I'm just going to mention that I really love what Colossal Order have done with the night mechanics in this game. So I mean, like the lights, I think are just absolutely stunning. Like you look up here and like looking down here, and you see like the road stretching into the distance and all the traffic and stuff coming through, and really just looks like a like you're in a real city. Like you can see the distance off in the background and all the lights of the city and stuff, and like especially like the bridges and stuff. I think the bridges are really amazing. So when you look at that, like the lighting in the bridge looks amazing. You see like the highway stretching off in the distance, and all the lights on the side of the roads and stuff, and like it looks like, I mean, that looks like realistic to me. I mean, it looks really amazing. So but it's not just like a graphical change, the sort of the day-night mechanics. So they actually have put a fair bit of changes into like the night mechanics and stuff. So like especially like a lot of the commercial districts, like I think most of them can sort of have like dual businesses basically. So like by day it may have a grocery store, and then by night maybe like a nightclub upstairs or something like that. So that adds like a lot of nuances into the game, and a lot of like new decisions and stuff that we've got to make. And so if you come into the budget screen, you actually sort of, like with your service and stuff, you can actually sort of change these around a lot. So like with the garbage collection, you can actually sort of like reduce your budget maybe like during the day or something, if you don't want your garbage collectors to be on the streets of a day because they clog up traffic, and then of a night or something they all come out and collect the garbage. So yeah, it just gives a lot of little changes and a lot of little decisions and stuff that you can make, and to just add a lot more depth into the game. So I did actually grab Cities Skylines when it first came out. So I think it was release day or even pre-ordered or something like that, and I spent quite a few hours with the game and really loved it. Like it is a really amazing game, and it's just brought a really fresh take to the city building genre that was much needed, and I think Colossal Order have done an amazing job with the game. So, but I did sort of think that after a while it did maybe lack a little bit of depth. So it sort of seemed to be a little bit same old after a while. But since the game has been released, which has been out quite a while now, they have done a fair bit of effort, fair bit of work, and put a lot of effort into actually expanding out a lot of the content. So like underground tunnels for roads, and like different building styles and models and things like that. And now with the After Dark expansion. So super duper impressed with what they've actually done with the game, and really excited to see where they go from here. So the game has sold amazingly well, so they would have done very well financially, which is extremely deserved. So don't begrudge them that at all, and very keen to see where they put their resources and stuff into next, what areas they sort of go in, and have high hopes for them in the future. Also pretty pumped as well that Paradox Studios were the ones that actually published them. So they're actually my favourite developer or game development company. But they do a lot of publishing for external developers now these days as well. So they make the best strategy games that I've ever come across. So if you guys have never played any of their strategy games, I highly encourage you to check them out. So first got into them, I think it was HY2, Hearts of Iron 2, so a World War II strategy game, and I absolutely loved that to death. Played so many hours in that, it wasn't funny. And then got stuck into things like the initial Crusader Kings and EU 2 and 3. And then when HY3, Hearts of Iron 3 came out, it wasn't really as good. It wasn't as good as HY2, and I think they sort of tried to overextend themselves, tried to do some mechanics and stuff that didn't really end up coming off. And sort of the game when it first came out was a little bit buggy, had quite a few issues. Ended up being a really good game after the expansions and a few years of patching. But HY4 is actually in the works at the moment. I think it's coming out maybe late this year, early next. So I'm super excited for that one to come out. So you can definitely expect to see a lot of Paradox coming up on the channel quite soon. So we'll probably cover maybe some EU4 and Crusader Kings 2 and things like that, and then especially when Hearts-of-Iron 4 comes out, spending a lot of time with that one, so really excited for that. But back to the present. So we've gotten up to a little hamlet, which is good. So we've now got taxes and loans, we've got garbage, healthcare and education unlocked, which is awesome, so we'll get all of those sorted out pretty quickly. Also like the sunrise mechanic as well, like you see the sun rising up in the way, the lights slowly flicker off and all the shadows and stuff like that. So anyway, yes, I do have a bit of a crush on Colossal Order, so we won't go any further into that. So we're starting to run out a little bit of power, so I'm going to actually put down another wind turbine over here, right out there, which would be good. Fix up our power lines like that, which is awesome. So we're going to need a bunch more residential. I think we're going to expand out this way like that, and a little bit more commercial. I think we're going to extend sort of all the way down to here, so just sort of a little bit of a buffer between the highway and our houses, which would be good. A bit more industrial as well. I think we can chuck that down, so we just might fill up this area and along here as well, which would be good. So garbage is the first thing, or the first new building we're going to put down. So what we're going to do is, garbage has a really big radius, so you can see it's going to cover all of our city, even if we put it over here. The purple ring, or the purple sort of circle, is pollution, so we want to keep that away from our other side of the road with our commercial and residential. So I think we're going to put this one probably there, would be a good spot. So we'll put that down, that'll start collecting any garbage that starts building up, which would be awesome. How much money have we got? $38,000, which is pretty good. So I think what we're going to do is put down a medical center first. I suppose it's more important to be healthy rather than educated. So we can all be healthy and dumb for the moment. I suppose if we're educated, if we're all really smart, but we're all dying of every disease under the sun, then it kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? So probably better be educated, healthy and stupid for the moment, and then we can work on our education later. So it's all going quite well. Lots of demand for residential. So what we're actually going to do now, then we're going to flesh out this area. So I'm a little bit torn about what to do. Whether we do sort of a few like loops in here to sort of do something a little bit funky, or we do like one big one, or I think we're just going to try something and see how it goes. So we're going to bring a first road in, probably here, I think. Turn on the freeform tool. So we go there. I think what we're going to do is come around like this, and then like, like that. And then follow this, follow the residential area as close as we can get it without sort of impacting them too much. Come down to like here. So what we can do is either come like around, build a big loop, sort of maybe follow the road back around again, and then do a little one in the middle maybe. Or what else can we do? I suppose we could even actually sort of bring this through here. So we've got like a few different entrances into this area, and then do like a small loop right through here, which actually could be quite cool. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I like that idea. So we're going to bring a road in from here, I think. No, we're not going to. We won't bring one in from here. So bring a road in here, and I think we're going to come out like this way, and come around like that, and like that, and that, and then come back around and join up there. So that is quite cool. I like that. That looks pretty good. Although this road looks a bit funny. I think it's like an old slope, is it? It is a little bit. Just a bit weird. Actually, that's a bit weird to me. It's all like thin and stuff. So we're going to try and delete that out and rebuild it. So we bring this one out and there, and join up, and that's much better. So that looks better. Cool. So what we're going to do is get rid of this and these ones. And how's our power going? So we're actually connected up here, which is really cool. So what we're going to do is just bring a really quick little one. Actually, no, just go like that, and then we can delete this one out. Cool, so that works. So what are we doing? So I think we're going to zone a whole bunch of residential all through here. So we got a lot of residential demand, which is good. And like I mentioned, we're going to keep this area free. I think we'll put down a school in a minute, an elementary school, which would be good. So we can do that now. Actually, got a fair bit of money, so we don't have to worry about that for the moment. So you can see, like I mentioned before, put services down here, and they're going to cover our whole sort of initial build over here. So really good place to put them, I think. And all the happy faces, which is fantastic. How are we going for energy? So we're going to need another wind turbine soon. Water is still fantastic, so we won't have to worry about that. A little bit more commercial demand, so we're actually going to sort of extend. I think we're going to extend around this way. Might switch to the smaller one, just fill out some of this area like this, and that should be good for now. I think we're probably actually not going to build sort of on either side of our main entry into our city, so we'll just leave that bare. So we might sort of build around here, and then if we need to, we can actually sort of build like another one around here. So I think that'll be quite cool. That'll sort of keep our commercial a little bit separate, and then most of our residential won't have to worry about any like noise pollution and stuff like that. So that'll be good. So crank up the speed a little bit further. So we've got all of our services set up that we can build right now. So garbage, medical, and our elementary school, which is good. So a lot of our residential is filling up really quickly. So I'm actually going to zone a bunch more. So I'm going to fill up this area here, and this side of the road like that, and there. I think that'll be quite good. Might as well just zone all this through here as well. Get it all sorted, and like that. So, lots of residential, lots of people moving into our city. So I think our next unlock is at around the... it's the one we just got. So the next one is at 900, so we're not too far away from that one actually. Should be good, so we get a few more little services and stuff. And pollution, how are we going for pollution? So pollution, heaps of pollution over here, but that's fine. No sewage pollution yet, which is awesome. And what about noise pollution? It's not too bad. So commercial does sort of give us a noise pollution here, but it's not too bad. I think it's sort of worth it for sort of having all of this area pretty much free from noise pollution. Traffic is fine for the moment, no problems at all. Health is pretty good, average health 70%. I'll just tick down actually. Education, we only got 2% educated, so that's to be expected. And garbage is 100% fine too. So, doing really well at the moment, everything's going along quite well. What about power? So, we're going to need another one quite soon. So I think it's probably going to be worth putting a dam down somewhere along the line. So given that the river runs down this way, I suppose we're either going to put it here, or we're going to put it all the way down here. So probably the only drawback with putting it here, I'm just thinking if we put it up here like it floods, although the riverbanks are fairly high, I guess, aren't they? If we can sort of see down there. So if it look fairly high, so hopefully it wouldn't flood. But I'm just thinking if it did, like, and we put sort of our forestry stuff here, it may sort of cause problems. But if we put it here, it's sort of like going to be downwind of our sewage, isn't it? So I'm not really sure if that causes any problems. Like, can we have a dam and like have it full of sewage? Like, is that going to be an issue, or who knows? If anyone in the comments or anyone watching knows the answer to that, can we have a dam full of brown sludge? Let me know in the comments, and that would be super appreciated. So running out of electricity again, or energy, so we're actually going to put down another wind turbine right there, and that one's, yep, so that's still hooked up, so that's good. So a fair bit of energy, so we're going quite well, everything's ticking along pretty good. So we're going to put up the speed up to 3 now, just let everything sort of build in. Do have all this commercial zoned in, it's not building up yet, so there's a fair bit of demand, but I'm sure that'll come in soon. Lots of houses, and going along quite well. So I generally run at around like 30-35 minutes episodes. Should be able to get a fair bit done in 30-minute sort of episodes in this game, which would be good. This sort of like the first few episodes are probably going to fly along pretty quickly. We're sort of just setting up our initial infrastructure and stuff, so that'd be good. It may slow down a little bit further later on when I get a little bit more pedantic about where everything goes and making sure everything's pretty and putting down paths and parks and trees and all that kind of stuff. So, but for now we should be able to grow our city quite quickly. It should be good. So everything's going along pretty well. So we're nearly up to our next milestone, which is good. So we'll be able to expand out a little further. I think our next step is actually going to be expand out or fill out all of this residential area over there. So now up to a worthy village, which is fantastic. So what have we got now? We can get a new area, so we actually unlock our first tile, our external our expansion tile. We've got districts and policies and a second loan and district specializations and service policies. Service policies have always been there, or are they something new? I suppose these are what service policies, isn't it? Power usage and water. Yeah, they've always been there. Let's go. We've got fire department, police department, and some unique buildings. And we can also forestry specialize and agriculture specialize for our industry, which is really good. So we'll probably get those set up. Probably be a little while away. I think we're probably better off expanding, getting our residential and commercial stuff set up, and just using sort of normal industrial, and then we can sort of, you know, build a big forestry area or farms or something like that. So we've got a few plazas and stuff that we can put down a little bit later, which would be awesome. Good times are rolling. So everything's going quite well. Happy with everything. So I'm actually thinking I might put a cut in here, guys. So our next task is definitely going to be sort of flesh out this area. That's going to be a little bit of work. We're sort of nearly coming up to our time limit, so I'm going to put a cut in here, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of our Cities Skyline Let's Play. If you've got any, you know, ideas and hints and tips, I'm more than open to suggestions. You know, if there's something I should be doing or something I shouldn't be doing, let me know. Let me know what you'd like to see in the city, you know, naming of districts or anything like that. Just leave me a comment. So, thanks for watching, and I hope that wherever you're watching from, you've had a wonderful day, and I'll see you all soon.